Greetings, family. How are you? It is your girl Lachey. I am so happy to be with you again today. I don't even. I'm like in a really good headspace. I'm in a really good headspace, and it has a lot to do with the title of today's show. Stop thinking you have to be perfect to be proud of yourself. One thing I can say is when I started my journey, my health journey, by the way, Lachey Taylor, if anybody doesn't know me, if this is your first time seeing the Lachey Taylor show, welcome. I am Lachey. Welcome to my show. I come on here. So I was inspired to start this daily show because I was challenging myself to do all watermelon every day for up to 40 days was the initial goal. I made it up to 33 days of all watermelon. I did over 20 straight days of nothing but watermelon juice. That fast really taught me a lot about myself. I went through a lot of emotional purging. I went through a lot of physical purging. I shared my journey. And the reason why I felt compelled to share my journey is because it's not my first fast. I've done fasts over time. I've challenged myself over time for like the past 3 or 4 years. I got into this because I had some serious health issues when I first started this journey. I started a raw vegan journey. I've been on a high raw vegan path since 2020. I quit drinking alcohol in 2019. I quit smoking weed in 2018. And there were habits that I actually picked back up over the time and then let go again. And I say all of this to say that, I've done high raw vegan, I've done fully raw vegan, I've went back to standard American diet food. I've even ate seafood. I've got rid of the seafood. I've got rid of the processed food. Like my journey evolves over time because of the off course actions, because of the so-called mistakes, because of the so-called relapses, because of the so-called failures, the things that we feel really terrible about while we're on the journey about ourselves, when we start judging ourselves harshly, when we have a hard time giving ourselves grace when we are not perfect, that is really the character development that you're experiencing. That is really when you're in the midst of your evolution. That is when you're in the midst of your change because of the strong and powerful emotions that you are experiencing at the time of a life happening. We have this tendency to believe that we have to be perfect in order to be successful and to be doing it right and to be on the right path, when in reality all we have to do is be consistent. And consistency is not perfection. Consistency is getting back on track when you do slip up. That is what consistency is. Consistency is you setting out a goal for yourself to do something for 1 week. 1 week I'm going to challenge myself to eat all fruit. And let's say that you were not successful on day one, but you started all over on day two. And day two, you actually ate nothing but fruit until about dinner time. And then you got cravings and then you slipped up and had something cooked. And it could have been a healthy cooked meal. It could have been some quinoa with some roasted vegetables and a juice, right? And you would feel bad about yourself because you had quinoa, roasted veggies, and juice, when in reality, that's success because you actually did what you set out to do. You ate nothing but fruit throughout the day, and then you slipped up on a healthier option than you otherwise would have eaten if you didn't set a challenge for yourself where it's a higher bar that you would otherwise have done because of the programming and the conditioning of how your habits have been throughout the course of your lifetime. We have to realize that habits don't change overnight. Habits change over time by being consistent, not perfectly consistent, but just consistent. Consistency is starting, stopping, and then starting again, and then starting again, and then starting again, and then continuation. So we have to pivot from saying that we slipped up and we failed and we messed up and now we got to start at day one. No, you just have to be consistent. So that means you just have to continue. There's no starting over. There's just continuation, because we're not on a path to perfection. We're just on a path to betterment. Betterism, not perfectionism, betterism. And I'm actually coining this show after this. I am updating again. I went from Black Pineapple to simply my name. I'm changing this to betterism with Lachey Taylor, because I want people to stop being so hard on themselves because they did something that they have literally done their entire life, which is a program, which is a conditioning, which actually scientifically, biologically, and scientifically requires the habitual change, the action, the practicing, the habits of changing. So you just have to practice the habit that you want to become your daily habit. So if you've been practicing eating standard American diet drugs your entire life, and now you are getting into the practice of being your higher self, and your higher self and your mind's eye and your vision is to eat only fruit or only veggies, or you just want to get meat out of your diet, whatever your personal health goal is, there is no perfect personal health goal. The perfect personal health goal is the one that is going to be the one that's going to be sustainable for you. So whatever you set out for yourself, whatever your ideal way of living and eating is, that is what is perfect. Now let's start setting goals and creating a plan around what is good for you. A lot of times we follow people and see how they live, and then we try to copy it, and then we have a really hard time doing it and we really struggle. And then we get really hard on ourselves because we couldn't be like somebody else. When in reality, it's good to take what you resonate with and leave the rest and move on and be inspired by others. Try different things, and whatever you see yourself being successful at most of the time, what you see yourself being consistent with, and it feels good when you're doing it, and you're enthusiastic about doing it, like, oh, I can really do this. I've been doing this. I've been picking up on this. I've been consistent. I'm seeing the results. I'm feeling it. That's what's good for you, right? Don't allow somebody else's journey and their dogmatic way of being, because that's what's good for them, make you feel less than or bad. Because I'm noticing that there are certain people in the health community, especially like the raw vegan or fruitarian health community, that are really devoted to how they live and what they're doing. And they have a high level of discipline, and they're really convicted in their beliefs, and their coaches and their influencers, and they're inspiring and they're high level, and I will never take that away from them. But they're constantly, like, everyone's allowed to have their opinions and stuff, but stop telling people there is something wrong with them, and especially people who just are getting into this, or just even learning about the idea of not eating cooked food, learning about the idea of not eating meat, learning about the idea of not eating dairy, learning about the idea that certain processed foods are harmful to their health. Like, this is a shock for a lot of people, like an emotional and culture shock, because a lot of our customs are attached to a lot of memories and a lot of traditions with our families, our loved ones, our friends, the way we like to have fun, the way we like to connect, the way we like to bond, the way we like to cope, the way we like to deal with life, whether we know they're healthy habits or unhealthy habits. This is how we have been programmed to be for our entire existence. And now we're learning, like, wow, we have been bamboozled by the system and by media and by culture to destruct ourselves and destroy ourselves with harmful things, with toxic ingredients. So now we're wrapping our minds around that concept alone. And now we're trying to challenge ourselves to be better. So we're joining challenges, we're doing things. It's okay to start a challenge, be consistent in the challenge for some time, and then decide, you know what, I'm ready to pivot. One thing I have learned is that I will not go back to putting processed food in my body. I will not go back to putting drugs in my body. I will not go back to putting harmful ingredients in my body. But if you want to have cooked meals, but you're mindful about what kind of food you put in, if it's whole foods and it's plant-based. Like, I'm so tired of people acting like the only way to be and the only way to live and the only way to heal is by eating raw foods and by being fruitarian. Could that be the highest way of living? Absolutely. But I do believe that people have to evolve into that. But it starts with starting where you're at. And it starts with allowing yourself to be as perfectly imperfect as you can be on your way there. And transitioning is extremely important. Some people they have a certain personality type where when they learn something, they can just make a decision and then just start overnight, go cold turkey and never look back. There are people like that. But then there are people like me who started this, who wanted to start cold turkey and go overnight because of all the knowledge I knew, what I believed. Like, my value really was that I believed that eating processed foods and eating eating like vegan processed foods like Beyond Burgers and going out and having like the vegan comfort foods. Sure, you're not eating animals, sure, you're not eating the 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 secretions of animals and all of that, but you are still eating mucus forming food. You are still eating highly processed things that our biological cellular body is just not meant to process and break down. So it just throws us off balance when we consume things like that. And I knew that and I understood that, but I still had a struggle and a hard time despite knowing better, doing better. Even though I was actually doing better in general though, right? Because I would be raw vegan and I would be raw vegan for like, I got to raw vegan consistently every single day, ate nothing but raw foods for up to 100 days. And it was a spectacular journey. And I felt amazing and the best I ever felt in my life. And then I went off course and started getting back into the processed foods due to it. Well, the processed drugs due to addiction, and got into myself, like got into my head, started speaking negatively about myself, completely destroyed my mental health because I was feeling like a failure because I wasn't doing the right thing. Even though I have proved to myself that I am capable for number one, but not only that, that I am better. But because of like the programming of perfectionism, I really would come down hard on myself. Now I realize that if you want to be healthy in your body, it's always going to start in your mind. It doesn't matter what you put in your mouth. It's time to start really thinking about why you even ate certain things to begin with. And it's usually always attached to an emotion. So we have to really start putting the focus on our thoughts and the focus on where our emotional state is at any given time. So when you are eating something that is less than perfect, do not feel bad about it. Eat it with reverence. I don't care what it is you're eating. I don't care if it's a hot dog. Eat it with reverence. And I say all that to say, observe your thoughts and your emotions after you've eaten it. Think to yourself, why the hell did I do that? What was I thinking and what was I feeling? And not in a judgmental way, but in an observant way. What was I thinking and what was I feeling before I consumed that? Okay, treat every slip up as a learning moment, as a teaching moment to yourself. We have to start separating our minds from our bodies, because the mind is the spirit. So like that I am is the mind, right? And if the I am is the mind, the observer, like the observer is the mind, that means the body is not that. If you think your body is mine, like you say this is my body, if it's yours, if it's mine, that means that it's not you. You just are who is ever in that seat of consciousness. So the I am is just the observer. So why did I just eat that? Get into the emotion behind it. Have it as a teaching moment, not as a moment to judge yourself. And after you have really got down to why you just did something and the emotions attached to it, realize that you're just an emotional eater and learn from it. Do not judge yourself and move on, because there's going to be natural consequences for that meal anyway. You're going to start to break out or something. You're going to feel great in your stomach. You're going to learn from it. And that brings me to my other point of really having a relationship with the body. The body, have a relationship with it. So after you consumed something, just be real with yourself and say that I ate this because I wanted to. It's what I wanted to do at the time. I ate it. It is what it is, right? Now, feel yourself after you have consumed that meal. Do you feel worse than you felt before you put it in your mouth and it got inside of your body? Because now it's inside of you. Now it's a part of you. It is who you are. Your cells, you create your cells. Your cells are being created with everything that you consume. Your cells are constantly changing. Sorry. Motorcycles. Your cells are constantly changing every day. They're regenerating. Your cells are always being created. We are regenerative human beings. We are cellular bodies. Your cells are constantly regenerating based on what you consume. Now, ask yourself, was it worth what I ate? Was it worth the alteration of my cells and what it has to go through now over the next 30 days as they develop? Now, I had this quote that came to me and I wrote it down. If you allow your body to be your compass, you will find your true north. And I say all that to say this, right? I came off of all watermelon, all fruit for over 2 months, feeling amazing. Went to the grocery store to get fruit. Had this crunchy, salty craving and desire. Was what makes me mad about these grocery stores is please keep the produce in the produce area and keep the junk in the junk area. Separate them. But what they do is they entice you by putting certain junk, they'll put it on a display near the healthy stuff. So they're constantly challenging your temptation. So I went and got my fruits and everything, right? But they had a display of plantain chips. And the plantain chips, they had like 3 ingredients. They had plantains, sea salt, and non-hydrogenated palm oil. I'm like, I know I shouldn't get these, but I think I'm gonna get them. So I got them. Got in my car, had about a handful, ate them. And then about 20 minutes later, all of it, my throat caked up with mucus. Caked up with mucus. And for the next hour or two, I was coughing up mucus. I threw them out. I threw out the chips because I refused to continue to harm my body after my body just communicated with me. That's called developing a relationship with your body. I actually did not feel bad about what I ate. I didn't beat up on myself. I didn't judge myself for it, which is actually growth for me. That is character development for me. Because if I had did that this time last year, I would have gotten really hard on myself just for eating a handful of something that I know is not the best for me. And I would have used it as an excuse to continue to eat that way for the rest of the day. Do you think that just because I had a handful of those, that was me slipping up and going off course and me feeling like I had to come to the internet and tell everybody what I did? Oh, now I got to start over. This is day one. No. What I did was I observed the behavior. I got into my head about why I consumed it. And I said, I'll never do that again. I learned my lesson. It's called experiencing and learning. And that thought came to my head. If you allow your body to be your compass, you will find your true north. So it's about having experiences with your body and then learning from them. But the only way you learn from it is by listening to it. And when your body reacts negatively to something, do not continue to harm it with the same thing that it just told you it didn't want and that it rejected. And that is growth. That is how you learn. You learn by doing things, going off course, testing certain things, listening, and then moving on and pivoting, not continuing to do it and using addiction as an excuse or whatever the case is. It's about developing the relationship with the body. And I'm really grateful because now I'm at a point in my health journey where I'm actually listening to my body after I have eaten a certain thing. And because I don't like how that felt, because I've been feeling so amazing and I actually really want to continue to feel amazing, I will not eat that again. It was a learning experience. You should only have to go through something one time after you have been on a journey for a long time. There has to be character development in our health journeys. But the character development does not have to be when you first start. The character development can be after your third, your fourth, your fifth, and your sixth year. Because a journey is a journey. As long as you're alive and as long as you are still getting up every day and taking actions and practicing the habits of the higher version of yourself that you want to be, you are being consistent. Consistency is not getting up and being perfect every single day. It's about setting a goal for yourself and being as close to every day as you can possibly get. But if it's not every day, it's not inconsistency. It's just imperfection. And we're not here to chase perfection. We're here to chase consistency, because if you are here to chase perfection, let me tell you something, you're going to fail every day. I had a coaching client who felt like they needed to be perfect every single day. And if they couldn't be perfect every single day, they would just continue. Like, they needed it to be perfect. And because they weren't perfect, they just kept failing every day. And then, like, I just don't even know what to do with that. I don't know what to do with a person who doesn't know how to just give themselves grace when they are inconsistent, because they feel like they're failing and they can't forgive themselves because they're not doing it right every single day. And the goal was to be a high raw, so that, okay, have your fruits during the day or have your savory during the day, just keep it raw. And then towards the evening, allow yourself to have like that comfort meal, no matter what it is. Because it's about just getting in the habit of practicing who you want to be and what you want to do. It's about developing the habit of the consistency, because developing the habit of the consistency of even doing it 50% right every day is what's going to lead you towards being more consistent, doing it right to your own vision every day. It's about tiptoeing into it. It's not about being 100% of something in order for you to feel like you're doing it right. And then when you're not doing it, you get into the mind game with yourself. And that mind game keeps you behind. Do you know how many things that I never started because I felt like everything had to be perfect before I could get going? When in reality, all you have to do is get going. And God and the universe, when God sees you going, God is going to reward you for putting in the energy and the effort. And now the people come into your life that helps make your dream a reality. Now the circumstances come into your life. Now you come across certain information. Now you're more attentive. Now you're willing to put more energy into it. Now you're looking for the environment and the people to be influenced by. Somebody's going to take notice of you. A person who you have a soul contract with, that's when they get introduced into your life. That's when things come into fruition. Is when you just start putting the energy behind it from where you're at right now. We always think that people be like, oh, I want to start living this way, but it's too expensive. Oh, I'm going to start doing this, but at first I got to wait. I'm going to start on this date and I'm going to, oh, I want to do this, but my family and this and that. Like, listen, if that means that if you want to get started on eating fruit or eating more fruit or whatever it is your goal is, just start by doing it once a day. If that means eating one apple to start the day, that means that you are starting on towards the journey of what you want to achieve. Like people be like, "Oh, I wish I could do this." And then they will go to the grocery store and go right to where the meat is and go right in the middle of the grocery store where all the processed junks are, where the breads and where the sodas and the crackers and the cookies and the candies and all this processed junk. They'll say, I wish I could do this, but then go to the grocery store and go exactly to where they always go that has led them to being fat, sick, and nearly dead, when they have just as much autonomy to go to the produce section and pick up some fresh fruit. They think that, you know what, you can do both. And that would actually make you successful because it was something you wasn't doing prior to that. You could still go to the meat aisle and go to the cheese and go to the breads and go to the produce aisle and get grapes and get watermelon and get whatever fruit you enjoy eating and decide, you know what? It's going to take me some time because I am addicted to the drugs that I eat, but I am going to set a goal for myself to do better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start by introducing fruit into my life. So when I go grocery shopping next time, I'm going to get the fruits that I enjoy eating and I'm going to make it a plan to eat my watermelon to start my day. And then I'm going to have my regular dinner that I always have. You know what? That is success. That is on your road to consistency because now you're doing better. Betterism, not perfectionism. It's about just starting to introduce the things. Just start. Don't start perfectly. Just start. Let me look at the comments if there are any. We have to learn to be patient with ourselves. Yes. First of all, greetings, Love Life with Rod. Appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. We do have to learn how to be patient with ourselves. Patience is a virtue, and patience is reality. Okay? Patience is reality. We have to stop looking at this as something we need to get accomplished overnight or something in a month or something in 2 months or 3 months. No. What we have to do is start to look. You know how people will have a financial goal for their life? They will decide, you know what? This is what I want to accomplish over the next 5 years. This is my 5-year plan. Everybody's 5, 10, 15, 20-year plans are always only based around their wealth, around their education, around their finances. But why don't we have 5, 10, 15, 20-year plans for our cellular health? When we know that every 7 years, we have a completely new body. Our cells, every 7 years, completely reset. So why don't we start making 7-year health plans to have a new cellular body in 7 years? So that means maybe the first year or 2 or 3, we spend it on a transitional journey of eliminating all of the things we know and understand and learn that is harmful to our cellular bodies. So if we know that eating animal flesh is harmful to our cellular bodies and degenerate us, now we create a plan to wean ourselves off of it, to eliminate it. And then we create a plan to eliminate dairy. So we can have a 3-year plan to be completely off of all animal products, or a 1-year plan to be completely off of animal products, right? Then we can have that 4th year as the plan where we go all in, where we're like, okay, this is my year to really challenge myself to eat cellular foods that really charge my body. Instead of looking at food in a way where it's like, I'm eating for survival, I'm eating just to get by. Let's have a plan to eat to thrive on a cellular level, to be our most electrical self, right? We are cellular beings. The brain is actually electrical and the heart is actually magnetic. We are electromagnetic beings and we have electromagnetic bodies. So we have to stop pivoting of from how we were programmed to see food to what food actually is for us. We have to start charging ourselves like the cells that we are, because we're electric bodies. So we have to start focused on consuming biophotons, consuming real light foods, and getting back and learning how to charge ourselves, getting back to nature, grounding our feet on the earth more, getting closer to trees, meditating under trees, touching trees, developing a relationship with a tree. Do you know if you do that over time, you actually start to harness and generate the energy of that tree? It may sound like pie in the sky, but it's the reality. If you speak to your plants, they thrive. If you water your plants, they live because they're living. If we eat plants, the plants charge us on a cellular level. But you know what we have to do first before we can get to that place? We have to start cleansing the gut. So we have to start creating 7-year plans to change our cellular bodies. And it starts with cleansing. But I understand before we get to that point, we just have to start eliminating the things that we have conditioned our bodies to be addicted to. But stop feeling like you have to change overnight, because it's not realistic. And then when you have unrealistic expectations for yourself that you don't meet, you develop this misperception of reality, that there is something wrong with you, that you just can't get it right because you're dumb. And I'm just dumb. I'm stupid. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I can't just do it. I know that I'm sick. I know that I'm overweight. I know I need to do better. But that is literally why you can't do better. Because the conversation you have with yourself is disparaging. You talk to yourself like shit. You are your worst enemy. You are not your best friend. You need to learn how to flip that script and be your own cheerleader. You can't only go to other people to be inspired or to hear good things about yourself. Like, I don't want to be around nobody who is constantly speaking down on themselves. It is the most annoying thing, because I find myself constantly always lifting up, trying to lift them up. Like, girl, please, do you know how powerful you are? You are beautiful. I watch you every day get up and take care of your kids. You do it with everything you have in you, no matter how much, and when I have to keep doing that though, because every time you say something about yourself, you always talking down on yourself, that's exhausting. I don't want to be around people like that. So I'm here to tell you, affirmations. Get up and say who you want to be. Get up and be like, I am a raw vegan. I'm fruitarian. You are, though. You are a frugivore by design. That's what you were biologically and intelligently created to consume. Affirm it every day. Even if you're not living that way, confirm it, because now you are communicating a completely different program to your cellular body. And that changes you on a genetic level. I am amazing. I love myself. I'm beautiful. I'm powerful. I eat the most electric food every single day, which is why I am always charged up. I take my herbs every day. I'm healing my body. I'm cleansing. I'm enthusiastic about life. I love getting up and taking care of myself every day. My life is absolutely amazing. I live a life of abundance. I just attract abundance. I attract energy. I attract money. I attract amazing people. I attract amazing circumstances. I am wealthy. I am healthy. I have an amazing relationship with myself. I am my biggest cheerleader. I will never allow anyone to talk down on me or make me feel less than, because I don't even treat myself that way. That's really how we have to start speaking to ourselves. I've come to learn that the majority of people can't go vegan, plant based overnight. There's nothing wrong with switching to cooked, whole food, plant based first. We don't have to go raw vegan or vegetarian first. Thank you. Thank you. I'm tired of this messaging that cooked food is poison. It's toxic. Okay, I agree with that for you. But you know what is toxic? Pork, cheese, pizzas, tacos. Let's get people off of that first before we start telling them you need to eat this and you need to be this way and this is like, stop. It's not good for people's mental health for them to think that they need to jump from the kiddie pool and dive into the ocean. We gotta build into that. Now, don't get me wrong. My graceless moments and where I was going hard on myself, there was a lot of character development in that. If I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have gotten to where I am right now. And I am so genuinely and truly grateful for where I'm at, because having a healthy state of mind when it comes to your health journey is what's going to lead you to success. Like, I highly encourage everybody to watch the interview from the Juice Champs with Professor Spira, because he talks about the mucusless healing diet system, but he also talks about the transition. And I have seen people thrive. Like, yeah, Shireen, that's funny that you just said that, because I was literally getting ready to say that. Plenty of people thrive on whole food, plant-based, cooked meals. If you go to, what is it called? Forks and Knives, they have a magazine where they feature people every day. People who are overweight, people who had diabetes, people who had congestive heart failure, people who are cancer, people who are literally dying. And they healed themselves eating whole food, plant-based, cooked meals. You know what they did? They cut out processed food. Well, processed poison. They stopped eating poison. They stopped eating toxic. That's all they did differently. And that's what I'm doing now. I pivoted from needing to be, I felt like I genuinely, truly believed the only way that I could heal is if I wasn't eating cooked foods and if I was eating all fruit or all raw vegan. And because that was the goal that I was chasing and I was like really like dogmatic about it, I would go on the opposite spectrum of it. I would either eat that way or I would go out to eat toxic vegan food and sometimes seafood. And when I pivoted from perfect eating to just eliminating toxic foods, to eliminating anything that is processed, like the things that are just like overtly bad for us, the stuff that has harmful ingredients, things that I don't know what they are. I have to Google them and find out that they are used in like their plastics and their foams and their all these things to preserve shelf life. When I pivoted from perfect eating to just not eating harmful toxic drugs, I get to still enjoy like Right now, don't get me wrong. I've actually been all fruit since I've gotten off of the watermelon. Um, with the exception of those plantain chips that I had that created mucus and then I threw them out because I'm not chasing perfectionism anymore. I'm not telling myself I can only eat raw. Right now I only want to. I'm feeling really good. I'm not really dealing with like the cravings right now to eat anything harmful. So it's not something that is, pulling at me. So I'm on this wave because I'm feeling great. My cells are changing every day. I'm high in energy. I'm taking my herbs. I'm on my A game herbal. My A game I'm powered by A game right now. I got up, I did my routine, I made my bed, I drank my herbs, I took my A game. My A game got me powered up. I am filled with energy right now. My mind is sharp. I'm here for you guys today. I said I was going to be. So I'm doing a 7-day challenge to come on here 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 or just 8:30 in general. It doesn't necessarily have to be for an hour, but I'm challenging myself. The importance of challenging yourself. Please challenge yourself. Please create an opportunity. Use this as an opportunity. Let this be your sign to challenge yourself for 1 week to do anything that you want to challenge yourself to do. It could be a health goal, it could be a work goal, a financial goal, a personal goal, and you don't have to share it with anyone. You don't have to share your goal with anybody. And I think that's a big thing too. Like sometimes keep some of your goals to yourself and don't share your accomplishment until after you have accomplished it. Because this is about building trust with ourselves. It's not about proving anything to anyone. You don't need anybody to know what you're about to do. You're not what you're going to do. You are what you're not what you say you're going to do. You are what you are doing. You are what you do. So let's focus on just like being, and then after the achievement is done, then hey guys, I'm so proud of myself. Look at my results. But it's just so important to set personal goals because that's how you build confidence after you have achieved them. And the achievement comes from you telling yourself you're going to do something, you doing it, and then you feeling validated by yourself, because this life is really about building the connection we have with ourselves, the connection our spirits have with our bodies, the way that our minds can command our body to do something, us following through on it, and then us like being bold and standing in that truth and standing in that confidence. That's how you build confidence, by the relationship that you have with yourself. We don't like to break our promises with the people in our lives, with those that we love, but because we don't want to let them down, but we will break the promises that we have for ourselves. And then we let ourselves down. And then that's how we lose confidence in ourselves. That's how we start feeling bad about ourselves. That's when we start speaking negatively about ourselves. And that is us actively deteriorating the relationship we actually have with ourselves. We care so much more about building strong relationships and building trust with people outside of us, but we have a hard time having exercising and challenging ourselves to build the relationship with ourselves. So please challenge yourself this week to build a relationship with yourself. Challenge yourself this week to really connect with yourself more. Like really be intentional about that. Really check yourself and think about it when you start saying negative things about yourself. Like check it. And don't check it in a way where you start thinking negatively about yourself and you disparaging yourself and you judging yourself because of what you said to yourself. Observe it. Be like, I literally just sat here and said to myself that I'm lazy. I just really sat here and said to myself, I lack confidence. Now, affirmation, affirm the opposite. Now say, I am confident. I am motivated. I am consistent. I don't have a lazy bone in my body. And just rewrite the story, change the story. We do not have to settle on the stories that we have written in our minds. That's the beautiful thing about being an autonomous human being. You can change the narrative at any given moment, but you choose to not change the narrative because you want to be a victim. You like settling in that victimhood state. You like talking about your problems. You like people coming to your beck and call and helping you. You like the attention that comes with being that way. But that's not good for your morale. It's not good for your spirit. It's not good for your soul. But you have the ability, the wherewithal, and the autonomy to change the story. You can literally start changing the story right now. Instead of saying, I don't know, like, this is hard, I need help. It's good to reach out for help when you need it. But you really should tell yourself you need help before you tell somebody else. And then ask yourself, what can I do right now to help me? And then just do it. Take a micro action. If you're in a grocery store right now and you're hungry, or if you're on a delivery app right now thinking about what you're about to order for breakfast, and you know you need help, and you're telling yourself, I need help, and you ask yourself, what can I do right now to help myself? And you can do a little micro action, and you're going to order food anyways. Instead of ordering what you know is not going to help you, order something that you know is going to help you. Just decide to get a smoothie with your breakfast sandwich. But start taking micro habits. You ain't got to do it perfectly. You just got to do it. Then you're going to feel good about yourself because you finally did something good for yourself. And that's how it starts. Stop thinking you got to do it perfectly. Like you got to already have a whole refrigerator full of fruits before you can get started on your journey. It ain't that. It's just about just getting some fruit, or getting or starting with a healthy cooked breakfast. Whole food, plant-based. Just get the chemicals out. Get the poisons and the toxins out. That's all. Replace the meat with mushrooms. Eat the deep fried mushrooms. Just don't eat the deep fried chicken legs. It's that simple. And you ain't even got to do it 100%. Just start taking the micro actions. Yes. We are talking about betterism. Perfectionism, throw it out. It doesn't exist. You know what perfectionism really is? People become perfect over time at certain things. But that, you know what that really is? It's self-mastery. It's just the mastery of that thing because they have done it repetitively for so long that they became perfect at it. We like to compare our day 20 or our day 30 to somebody's day 3,000 or somebody's day 300,000. We like to sit here and think that there is something wrong with us because we are comparing ourselves to somebody who has been doing something for 20 to 30 years. I promise you, they also transitioned to that level of mastery. It takes time and it takes consistency of time, not perfectionism of time. They probably spent the first year doing it 100 out of 365 days, and then the second year doing it 200 out of 365 days, and the third year doing it 300 out of 365 days, and then the fourth year, like it got better with time. And then they became masters at it because of the consistency, because of the neural pathways generated. So I'm going to read the description of this to you, and then I'm going to close this out because I have a description of this show, and I just thought it was perfect, and I can't put it into words, freestyle, like how I could write it. So I said, consistency is not perfection. Consistency is intentionally putting energy behind a goal you've set for yourself some of the time, most of the time. I repeat that. Consistency is not perfection. Consistency is intentionally putting energy behind a goal you have set for yourself some of the time, most of the time. So you are putting energy behind a goal sometime, some of the time, most of the time. It's not every day, just some of the time, most of the time. And you do that repeatedly over time until it becomes more so every day. But that requires challenging yourself. So you have to get in the habit of challenging yourself. Challenge yourself for a day, challenge yourself for 3 days, then move it up to a week to just start practicing the habit of who you want to be once a month. Like, say every quarter of a year, you'll do 30 days of all fruit just to cleanse, for maintenance, to get the gut cleaning, But I'm going to finish what I wrote. I said, doing something you used to do habitually and between doing something you have a goal to do habitually is just an off-course action on your road to betterment. So doing something you used to do habitually and between doing something you have a goal to do habitually is just an off-course action on your road to betterment. Get back to the goal-oriented action, and you are, in fact, still being consistent. Giving yourself grace on your transitional journey to your higher self is not you giving yourself a pass or justification of an excuse to failure. Grace is being realistic with yourself while you are on your transformational journey. It's okay to not be perfect on the path to becoming. It takes years of repetition to create those neuropathways that will eventually become you, one brick at a time, and you being your highest self. If you've started and practiced new habits 2 days out of 7 on your start, that is something to be proud of today. Now do it again. Now that is consistency. Consistency is not every day. It's as close to every day as you can get. And I'm going to end it there. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I am branding this show as Betterism with Lachey Taylor. I'm going to be changing that on YouTube because my mission is to, number one, get people excited and in love with the journey to getting better. This is about betterism. This isn't about perfectionism. Betterism leads to perfectionism. And all perfectionism is self-mastery. But that requires just doing the same thing repeatedly and consistently over time. Not every day, just consistently over time. So we are on the road to betterment. We're not on the road to going from being at level 10 in our life to getting to level 1000. It's just levels to get there. And I want us to be realistic about that on these journeys and on this path. That's all about being realistic, allowing yourself, like building the failure into it. And for me, I think that is important because when you build the imperfection into the transitional journey to better health, to being a better spirit, it's like taking away that opportunity to speak downward on your self, to disparage yourself. And I think that's really what it's about. It's about really building a relationship with ourselves and really checking ourselves when we say negative things about ourselves, when we are being less than perfect. We have to realize that we are humans living in a society, in a matrix system that has been designed for us to fail. They put everything in front of us to make it easy for us to make imperfect actions. They're not making it easy for us to be healthy. There could be fruit trees everywhere. We live on a planet, and we live in an ecological system that is regenerative by its nature. All it requires are seeds to go into the soil, and we could have trees to feed us for a lifetime. There is no such thing as like food insecurity. That is a made up thing that puts a mindset of scarcity in us to create a fear based thinking system, uh, have us living on a fear-based, scarcity-based mindset. But that is on purpose, because there are powers that be that try to work against us, because they're trying to reduce the population of the world, because you can't control too many people. So they want us to reduce and dwindle in numbers so that we can be more easily controlled. But now that we know this, we cannot allow ourselves to be used against ourselves. There is nothing more revolutionary than creating a plan, a 7-year plan to regenerate our cellular bodies. But it just starts with building a connection and a relationship with ourselves. So let's start with our affirmations, start our days with our affirmations every day. Say who we want to be, say it as if it already exists. So start that. Start changing the programming you give yourself to yourselves. Start with that. Then just start implementing small changes at a time, the little micro habits, little micro actions that's going to lead you towards creating the habits, and just do that consistently, as possible. Never judge yourself when you have a slip up. Just realize that that's a program that you've already been living out over the course of time of your entire existence, that you just have to deconstruct, deprogram, and then reprogram with the new micro habits that's going to become you over time. Okay, I'm gonna end it there. I love you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in to Betterism with Lachey Taylor. And until tomorrow, I'll be here because I have a 7-day challenge to be here between 8:30 and 9:30. Peace.